Jewish Channel's Week in Review. The Newburgh forced bombing plot on Jewish buildings in Riverdale is everywhere, but we get the word on the ground and reveal what the Jewish media isn't telling you. What does Avigdor Lieberman's loyalty oath bill mean for Jews here in the States? The Oscar-nominated Waltz with Bashir is coming to America in a book and DVD, and we sat down with the creator of its stunning look. Swine flu hits yeshivas, and more of the Jewish news that's changing your world in this webcast version of the Week in Review. Hello, and welcome to the Jewish Channel's Week in Review. I'm Stephen I. Weiss. The Newburgh Forest Riverdale bombing plot is on everyone's minds this week. Fake bombs that the accused allegedly thought were real are said to have been placed outside two houses of worship in the Bronx, the Reformed Riverdale Temple and the Orthodox Riverdale Jewish Center. The four men in custody are ex-convicts and Muslims, some of whom converted to Islam while incarcerated and attended the same mosque in upstate New York where they met in recent years. The Jewish community as a whole is calling for increased vigilance and attention to security, but of course the reality of the plot was felt most deeply in Riverdale itself. Rebecca Honig-Friedman spent time there with members of that Jewish community.
Just days after an alleged terrorist plot to bomb two synagogues in Riverdale was foiled, all is quiet here at one of the targets, the Reformed Riverdale Jewish Temple, where we spoke with Rabbi Judith Lewis to find out how her community is coping.
It really drew the whole community, the whole Riverdale community together. But then once Friday night arrived, I think the strongest impression was that it was time to go back to doing what we do. And then Saturday morning we had a bar mitzvah. So, you know, we're back to what our business is to do, which is to celebrate and study and worship together.
And at the Riverdale Jewish Center, the other target of the alleged plot, Executive Director David Winter shared a similar experience.
Shabbat here was a calming, wonderful Shabbat. The rabbi addressed the entire congregation, standing room only, and he let everyone know that we're safe and that what could have happened didn't happen, and that even though we are not, we weren't aware, we were being watched over, and that's really special.
For more from Riverdale, including interviews with citizens and one rabbi's call for prison reform, check out the broadcast version of the Week in Review.
Thank you, Rebecca. The bombing plot has led to countless stories in the mainstream media, and Jewish outlets are reporting on it as well. But there are some key differences about what you'll know if you only use the Jewish newspapers as your source of information. What are Jewish newspapers missing? Tune into our broadcast version of the Week in Review for details. A different kind of threat, the swine flu that has infected more than 200 New Yorkers, caused 2 deaths, and triggered the closing of dozens of New York City schools, has also led to infections and closings in the Jewish community. The first swine flu casualty in New York was a Jewish American, an assistant principal at IS 238 named Mitchell Weiner. At least 5 Orthodox Jewish private schools, the Brooklyn-based Yeshiva Tiferes Yisrael, Masoras Beis Yaakov, Yeshiva Shari Torah, and Magen David Yeshiva, as well as Long Island's SKA, have been closed for at least this week after some students were diagnosed with the virus. A Jewish community center on Long Island also shut its doors, and in Israel, at least 11 people have thus far been found to be infected. But one way Israel is infecting the rest of the world is with its cultural output. For some time, Waltz with Bashir was the little Israeli film that could. The visually arresting animation within the film is the work of David Polanski. Christian Eden and Shlomo Weprin produced this special report.
What attracted me the most to the project is the fact that it deals with memory and the chance to illustrate someone else's memories, hallucinations, dreams. And last but not least, the fact that it deals with this very tense matter, that it's has a lot to do with the way we perceive ourselves as Israelis. It's not new to me as a citizen, as a person, but it was kind of a step up for me as an artist.
In an interview at the Cooper Union, animator David Polanski revealed what went into the making of Waltz with Bashir. It won 4 Israeli Academy Awards and is now set to make an additional appearance in the U.S. as a graphic novel. But Polanski disclosed that Bashir was a shoestring project that almost didn't make it off the ground.
Christian and Shlomo have more with Polanski in the broadcast version of the Week in Review. Finally, Israeli Foreign Minister Avigdor Lieberman's campaign promise of imposing a loyalty oath on Israeli Arabs met reality this week as a bill for the measure was presented in Knesset. Since Lieberman's party only garnered 15 out of 120 Knesset seats in the recent election, it's not expected to go very far, at least as it was planned. However, the debate over the bill provides some interesting insights into the Jewish community, such as the fact that the loyalty oath is objected to not only by those who think it will target Arabs, but also those worried about whether ultra-orthodox Jews would face exclusion, since many ultra-orthodox Jews believe that the existence of the State of Israel as a Jewish state prior to a Messianic age is a violation of Jewish law. Ultra-Orthodox news site Vossas Nayas headlined its post on the story, "Proposed New Loyalty Oath Bill Could Hurt Arabs Ultra-Orthodox." And despite the American Jewish community's off-cited liberalism, American Jewish support for Lieberman is several times larger than that in Israel. In an Anti-Defamation League survey, nearly half of American Jews either hadn't heard of Lieberman or didn't have feelings about him. But of those who did give an answer about him, nearly 60% were favorable to him, or 31% of the total. And when left-wing Israel lobby group J Street found only 31% of American Jews support Lieberman, J Street asked about more than just the loyalty oath, describing him in the poll question as someone, quote, who has previously called for the execution of Arab members of Israel's parliament who met with Hamas. And even with support for Lieberman presumably reduced by adding that to the question, the 31% support he received from American Jews in the survey is nearly 3 times the proportion of votes he got in Israel's election. Last week, we heard from the New York Board of Rabbis Executive Vice President about why American Jews are okay with a loyalty oath.
Avigdor Lieberman said he wants a loyalty oath. We have loyalty oaths here. We ask for a pledge of allegiance in this country. I don't see why people who are living in Israel or anywhere shouldn't say, I have loyalty to the country in which I live. So I don't think it's an outrageous demand.
That's all for this week. For more news and analysis from the Jewish Channel, please visit newsdesk.tjctv.com. For the full broadcast version of the Week in Review, including additional interviews, stories, and features, please stop by the Jewish Channel on cable. From all of us here at the Jewish Channel, be well. The Jewish Channel is available on cable, IO Optimum Cable Channel 291, Time Warner Cable Channel 528, Verizon Fios Channel 900, and Cox Cable Channel 1. For more information, visit tjctv.com.